All right, well, it's the game on Saturday. We were doing a survey of when people who didn't go to the school became a fan. So for you, you obviously went to the University of Michigan. Were you a Michigan fan before you went to the University of Michigan, and if so, why?
Well, I always explain this way because, people are always want to know, where's your allegiance?
Right.
And I'm a state of Michigan person, a man of the mitten, as we say. I grew up in Ann Arbor for like 7 years before we moved to Battle Creek. So obviously I call it a fan, call it somebody who just went to the games, but not a raging, rabid person. I mean, nobody in my family went there. I didn't have any background there other than living in Ann Arbor for 7 years. So long way. And then I went to school there.
Right.
So, yeah, of course you gravitate to a certain degree. But now, did you guys determine I heard it's part of your survey there, what was the main reason someone who went to neither school went there? It sounded like family connections, right?
For the most part.
Yeah, which makes sense. And I've never bought the Walmart Wolverine thing. You're not allowed to. But I see what people are saying. It's like if you see somebody here locally and they go, yeah, I've always been a New England Patriots fan ever since, Tom Brady went there or whatever. And it's like, well, no, you got to have a different connection than that. And it sounds like people have strong connections, so I will allow that. I will.
All right, so let's take out trouble with the snap because we're going to get into this later in the week. But what's the moment in this rivalry that sticks out to you the most? Not necessarily your favorite, just one that sticks out to you the most.
Well, I'd probably have to go with trouble with the snap, where the punter Blake O'Neill, he fumbled it, and then they. You know what? Maybe a little bit of old school, but not that old school. The moment I realized how real it was and how devastating it could be for either side, I believe it was the 1990 game where Michigan was number one and was. I don't remember because spreads weren't that big, but was about a 20-point favorite over Michigan State at home.
Is that the one versus number one?
Yes.
Eddie Brown?
Yeah.
And Michigan was trailing 28-21, drove the length of the field, scored, and Gary Moeller went for two. Desmond Howard tripped on a gum wrapper in the end zone, and Michigan State won. And the vitriol both ways after that, and that was, 30 years ago, but has only ratcheted since then in my mind.
So you think that's the origination of a majority of the vitriol? I know it goes way back before that.
Desmond still should have caught the ball.
They cheated.
Yeah. Right. I agree. Well, I think that's where Michigan fans are a little bit slow on this sometimes. Finally started to dawn on them that, if you don't watch yourself, Michigan State is a threat. I mean, people grew up watching Bo slam them year after year, but then they truly learned the lesson when Mark D'Antonio showed up. So I think that was – I mean, if you recall, Michigan was number one in the country at the time and had no business losing that game, although Michigan State had a couple of great running backs. But, and then there's the Spartan Bob. Let me say this, and Jansen, you probably deal with this too. Michigan State fans hate, and I get it. They hate that all of their big victories are framed with a moniker. The Spartan Bob game, the trouble with the snap game, the Eddie Brown trip in the end zone game. That's not fair, but you know what it is? It's because when it's close, Michigan State usually wins. Otherwise, they stomp Michigan or Michigan stomps them. But if you look at it, when Michigan has won, they've very rarely been right down to the final play when they've actually won.
Except the Brady Hoax game where Brad Gibbons kicked the field goal. That was a snore fest.
So we got a game plan, Woj, tonight. What's your game plan?
So we're supposed to get into this rivalry with you got the crazy little Valenti kid over there, right?
Yeah.
Little.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think
this guy calling somebody little.
I think our game plan should just be use a lot of big multisyllabic words and confuse them.
Is little brother on the
idea?
Little brother fair game tonight?
Sure, why not? I mean, To be honest, Michigan State should love the little brother thing. It definitely revived them. And I think it's real that it revived them because D'Antonio used it magnificently. So, sure, everything's fair game. Why not?
All right, final.
Walmart Wolverines, whatever you want.
Is this going to be close on Saturday?
For a little while. I always say on these games, I think the underdog will score first, and all the little bowels will start quivering in Michigan Stadium.
Ooh.
And then I would assume with Michigan's running game, they would just gradually, or maybe not even gradually, pull away. But, you do throw the record books out in this game. You guys have heard that, right?
Yes.
By the way, John, I don't know.
The first time I've heard quivering bowels, though.
John, it's usually tight sphincters instead of quivering bowels. I don't know if you know this, John. Wojo one year went dressed as George Perlis for Halloween.
I didn't even have to put any pillows in my jacket. I was the same size.